I felt like he had betrayed me, but I was mad at him in a sense of I didn't understand what he had done. I didn't understand where he came from, and I didn't want to understand where he came from, maybe for my own personal reasons, but I never took that time to get to understand where it is. And I know this is something that could have been solved with an easy conversation, or could have been solved by sitting down, understanding people around, and getting. Even when Sifuna was on the show, I didn't want to listen to Sifuna, so I was angry at myself because of that.
As an artist, I think about how Baba loved art.
Yes.
And, and how he actually changed the course of our musical, creativity, especially the people in Kenya, And they were talking about this in another show, and you think about the songs that, he revived just by him being Baba, you understand?
This is the One Mic Show. Now, this hour we reflect on the life and legacy of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, the man whose courage, sacrifice, and defiance helped shape Kenya's democracy. His story of endurance is a story of people who refuse to give up. We'll unpack what his passing means for Kenya's future, the lessons from his lifelong struggle, and the question now on every Kenyan's mind is, who carries the torch from here? Again, please drop a comment below and tell us what city, state, or country you're tuned in from. And also let us know, like your memories of Baba, or just describe Baba in one word. But tonight, before we get started,
I'm Kanda Bongo Man. I'm deeply sad to hear about the loss of His Excellency Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister of Kenya, who welcomed me on his office when he was Prime Minister, and also he welcomed me on his hotel for 2 days in Kisumu when I went to perform for Barack Obama victory. I'm sending this message to say my condolences to all Kenyans, his family. Raila Odinga was a man of people. He was a big leader, one of the big leaders in Kenya. And I still remember him, or those time I met him. This is Kanda Bongo Man from London.
Mambo Vipi, to all my people in Kenya. I know it is a very sad time in the history of our country and our people, our nation. We have lost a great man, Mr. Raila Odinga. Gone but not forgotten. May his soul rest in peace. Just want you to hold strong and keep the faith, my people. My deepest condolences to his family and all his fans and followers. Keep the faith and hold strong. A messenger heading your way soon to perform for you and give you some encouragement and some spiritual upliftment. We're all in this thing together, then why can't we all just live as one? Sweep over each soul, sweep over my soul. Though the road in life gets rough, just sweep over our souls.
Sana kwa ndugu wetu wa Kenya. Tumepoteza baoba kubwa ya Afrika na jina ya Baba Raila Odinga. Mungu alete amani kwa famili mzima na Mama Aida Odinga. Pole sana. Mungu akupatie nguvu sana. My brother Fred Bachuka. Pole sana. Mungu akuwe na sisi. Tuko pamoja. Poleni, poleni wandugu wangu wa Kenya. Ni mimi Mama Mbiliabel, Mama Afrika. Poleni sana.
all right, thank you so much, Luciano Kandabongoman, Mama Mbilia Bell. Thank you so much. These are heavy names, like giving tributes to the fallen soldier, Raila Amolo Odinga Baba. This will be one of the most difficult episodes that we've ever done. because it's just one of those episodes where we don't know exactly how things will go. And for those who are out here in the DMV, there is an event tomorrow at the embassy commemorating Baba at 3 p.m. That's 2249 R Street. That's the Kenyan Embassy, Washington, D.C. For all those who are in the DMV who can make it, that's going to be good. And you know, I also want to welcome those who are already tuned in. Thank you so much. I can see Brian Nyamu, Anasema Rest Well Baba. Thank you so much. Gerald Oliech says, I remember when we were in primary school and would watch KBC that Raila was detained. And then I can see Ken Lemayan is already tuned in. Anasema watching from San Francisco. Rest in power, Jacom. And then Washeke anasema resilience. Gerald anasema Ali, my best moments was his higher, always 3 times. So thank you so much. And I want to also welcome the people who already tuned in live on YouTube. Karibuni sana. Please make sure you share this to as many people as possible. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. We want to hear from you tonight. But to get us started now, Kenya stands still. A lion has fallen, and a heavy silence hangs not just over the land, but across oceans. From Kisumu to Kiambu, Nairobi to New York, and from Kibra to the Kenyan diaspora watching tonight, a nation is in mourning. This evening, the One Mic Show pauses the noise to remember, reflect, and honor the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, a man whose courage, resilience, and sacrifice shaped the soul of our nation. For more than 3 decades, Raila's story was one of imprisonment and endurance, betrayal and forgiveness, and one of hope and heartbreak. He was never perfect, but his fight for justice, his defiance in the face of oppression, and his faith in Kenya's destiny made him larger than politics. Tonight, his absence feels like a chapter, a closing, and yet the story of his struggle still remains unfinished. Which brings me to the big question of the day. What does Kenya look after Raila? What lessons do we, the sons and daughters of his struggle, carry forward? As you watch tonight, we invite you to call in. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. That number again, please write it down. It is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. We want you to share your reflections on what Raila meant to your life. Again, the number is 202-683-4570. 4570. Press star 5 to speak. And on panel with me to hold this down are my brothers and partners in crime. I have DJ Omosh Fire, I have Mr. One Mike himself, and I have Mika Och. Also joining us on the panel as a guest host is an extraordinary artist, storyteller, and poet, Miss Anna Molago. Now, Anna was the electrifying MC who energized Baba's Azimio campaign event in the DC area back during the 2022 campaigns. So, Anna, karibu sana to the One Mic Show. Welcome to the One Mic Show. Yes, and I don't know whether your microphone is on.
She's trying to whisper, but
yeah, but just check to see, make sure Anna's microphone is on.
No, it's
okay, all right, good. So
I'm
Anna,
so happy to be with you guys.
oh, thank you so much. So Anna, karibu sana again. What's your mood been like since receiving the news?
Oh wow, honey, you have just started with me, moto, almost. You know,
Baptism by fire.
Honestly, in the beginning, I had mixed feelings. I was like, you know, immediately you think Baba, then you say, lakini handshake ya mwisho. But then you start listening to people pouring in their, you know, condolences, and, you know, just speaking about how powerful and how he changed. And so it made me go back to what I know of Baba, the man who fought for Kenya's, you can say, second liberation, right? And many other things. And I say, you know what? We've lost definitely. This is a mugumo tree that has fallen. And you know the repercussion of a baobab tree or a mugumo tree. And they say when the tree like that falls, the roots shake the whole earth. Because what he gave to, he was selfless. He gave so much to Kenya and the world. And more importantly, I think about the fact that he was fighting for our freedom, justice. And so I think about the many times he wanted, even this last time, and I wrote a poem for him, and we knew, this time nobody can stop reggae. I love reggae kakatwa. And then, you know, it's so many things you start thinking about. This man has went through a lot, not for himself. Yes, but for Kenya. And yes, people will say, there were some issues, you never know. There's always talk, hizo handshake alikuwa nafanya zake na family. You never know. Sometimes really what elders do, we can only guess. We would need to sit beside them or, kwa miguu yao, watuambie why it happened. And we are actually going to see the reasons for the handshake now that he has passed. Because I really think Kenya will be affected. The impact will be great.
Yes, and death is a very sobering event because it allows you to reflect and think soberly. DJ Moshfire, karibu sana. I know this has been very difficult on you. Like we've been on this journey with Baba for a very, very long time. So DJ Moshfire, what has your mood been since you got the news this week? And just tell us generally how you're feeling so far.
So thanks, Ali, and also welcome to our audience. Anna, thanks for showing up with us last minute. Unajua, normally the easy show, suaga tunazipanga even weeks ahead of time, so you kind of know what your timetable is. And this is one of those that you had to adjust with the times. Now, with that being said, Ali, you've asked very many questions within all of that. I think, to me, I'll say any normal Kenyan is affected. The level of being affected or the effect is where probably there's variations. And for me in particular, initially you get the news, you're like, I don't think. Then you're like,
Any rumors.
Then you're like, no. Then you're like, you have a bad feeling, So it's you feel devastation, you feel loss, you feel sad. Then and you also have your reality that you're the one who is here, you're alive, and this person is now gone. But then you also now start reflecting upon their legacy and or how they have affected you. And I know a lot of us posted, we have pictures with a guy, and then you start trying to roll back and say, okay, when is the first time when I met this guy live, face to face? We are hapa kwa hapa, we are talking, we are, and I'm like, hey, I'm going it's back. It's a long time. And for me, I go back to even my days with his late son, Fidel, here when he was in DMV. And you're like, man, hey, really? We are attached to the hip of this guy. Ata upende usipende, I remember in 2013 when he wrote his book and he had come on a book tour. We are the guys who went there. We got his book. There's a lot of people who probably don't even know he wrote a book, but he did write a book. A big. It's called The Flame of Freedom. I forgot that I was on camera. So this is actually the book. And I actually got it autographed by him. So, but he wrote it in 2013. So what of the autograph?
Yeah. Omera, what is?
No, this is private, bwana. This is... Omera, I cannot show them. What do you mean, bwana?
Kwa kalatas.
No.
Kasayan took a signature.
No, but whom shall we tell? Kuna watu wanaweza kuwa naningoja kule nje wanipige ngeta. Where will they get it?
Yes.
Is that up?
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, a lot of things happening over here. But and then now, with all of the things happening in Kenya, with the time difference, I'm noticing it's almost like here we are back at that same cycle of elections when you are trying to stay awake, do whatever you're doing on this side. Then at night, now you are up, YouTube, live stream, unangojea, unaangalia vitu. So it's like you're not even sleeping. Your cycle, where cycle yako uko kwa cycle ya Kenya, lakini you're living in the US, and the reality of all of this is we are yet to feel it, because right now we are going through I would say the mourning and as well as the ceremonial part of it. Then now we start seeing the politics and the policies that end up getting changed because this guy is no longer around, and maybe chaps say those MOUs are no longer being honored. Kaende. Those are some of the realities, and we can only speculate. But
Yes,
what a great man. We've lost a very, very great man for Kenya, for Africa. And I think, if you sit up and think about it and say, how would you rather have lost this guy? I actually think we probably lost him in the right way, as sad as it sounds.
Okay, all right. That's DJ Omosh Fire saying we lost him in the right way and maybe even at the right time. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. It's a live tribute to Baba.
I didn't say right time.
And I think we have Mika Och. Mika Och is also available. Mika, like for a brief minute, just tell us how your mood has been since you received this news and what people out there saying. Mika, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Ali, and I want to welcome everybody who's listening to us today. As you said, it's a somber mood, and to me, I'm usually an early riser, and when you wake up early, if you're an early riser, you usually have a routine that you follow. That is the one day that I woke up, and instead of usually following my morning routine of just easing myself into my how I start my day, I went to my phone, and the first thing I saw was the news that Baba was no more with us, and I felt angry immediately. Like I felt angry, and I felt angry at myself because um, I'm an I'm not just a supporter or a believer of Baba. Somebody who, how can I say, as when I was a student leader in college, Baba was somebody I interacted with a lot, especially during the 2005 referendum. And this is somebody who I believed in his politics based on conversations with him, understanding him and knowing where he came from, and him telling you things that he can never say in open. Like, so you get to understand where this man is coming from with the policies that he is. And in the past few months, I was mad at him. And I was mad at him not because of I felt like he had betrayed me, but I was mad at him in a sense of I didn't understand what he had done. I didn't understand where he came from, and I didn't want to understand where he came from, maybe for my own personal reasons, but I never took that time to get to understand where it is. And I know this is something that could have been solved with an easy conversation, or could have been solved by sitting down, understanding people around, and getting. Even when Sifuna was on the show, I didn't want to listen to Sifuna. So I was angry at myself because of that. But then I told myself, you can't be angry. You can't be angry with a lack of better word in describing an enigma, something that's strange, because this man was strange. This man was somebody who was, people thought they could predict him, but was unpredictable. He he is the only politician in that country, and is no longer there. He was the last politician in this country who you could say that he had national unity around him. He was the only person who controlled the party for more than 10 years, and that party had any semblance of national unity, not just tribal based. And this is somebody who, even if you look right now, you went online and you saw the tributes, he's loved by everybody in all communities. So there's somebody who the country loved. There were reasons, and there were people who didn't like or agree with him or hated him, and that's fine. It's normal in life. And even Jesus said that a prophet is hated most at home, and they're revered when they're no longer there. So for me, Ali, my mood has been a changing mood of grieving. In grieving, you cannot control yourself. Mine has been more of a mood of I'm celebrating him. I'm sad. I'm like, why right now? why didn't you wait to see what you could have done in the next coming elections? Because you knew you were not going to run. We wanted to see who you're going to endorse, how you're going to push the country. As in, so many answered why, how, when. But for me, I'm like, in my eyes, he died a hero, and he will always be a hero, because if there's anybody who you will have said has done sacrifice, I'm not saying that Baba has been a saint to Kenya, but what he has done to that country, I myself, I know I will never even come to a tenth of what he's done. And a lot of us who criticize him or praise him, or I can say that no other Kenyan will do for Kenya even a quarter of what Baba has done for Kenya. So for me, it's a period of mixed feelings. Sometimes I'm celebrating him, sometimes I'm hurting, but I just hope that we remember everything is done, because we will need it in our country. We used to depend on him to fight for us. Now we have nobody. It's up to us. We just hope we remember.
Okay, asante sana Mika. Like very profound statements coming from Mika. And everybody is very sad with the demise of Baba. And we're looking to hear from you. Number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. You can call in to give your tribute for Baba. Going forward, no one knows how things are going to look. He's been one of the constants in Kenyan politics for the last 30 years. We've seen many people come and go, and he's been the one constant factor. He's been the one who's having an influence. And I think we got to a point where we took him for granted, both the ones who loved him and the ones who disliked him. Like when he was quiet, like everyone was complaining, oh, why is he not saying anything? And then when he speaks, everyone starts complaining again. Now, I can see why there are Kathy studio. Anasema glad to be here. Welcome. And Dr. Gitawa Irimu is watching from New York. Anasema Gwambo rest in power. Rasvik is also tuned in. Thank you so much. Now, before we dive deeper tonight, let's take a quick look at where Raila's journey began. Now, Raila Odinga was born on January 7th, 1945 at the Anglican Church Missionary Society Hospital in Maseno. His father, Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, would later become Kenya's first vice president, while Raila was still a teenager at the time. At just the tender age of 17, young Raila left Kenya for East Germany, where he studied mechanical engineering. He spent 8 years there, earning a master's degree before returning home in 1970. Back in Kenya, he joined the University of Nairobi as a lecturer, a promising academic with a secure future, until history changed this course. In 1982, after the failed coup against President Moi, Raila was arrested and detained for nearly 7 years without trial. The experience would transform him forever from a quiet lecturer into a lifelong prisoner for freedom. So I want to come to you, Omoshia, to help us unpack this a little bit. How does a man go from being a university lecturer with a stable life to risking everything and spending 7 years in prison for the sake of his country, and still came out believing in Kenya? And then secondly, Omosh, this is where... Is this where maybe the unparalleled love and devotion that Luo Nation has for Baba really come from? The sense that he suffered for the people and never stopped fighting for them, no matter the cost. DJ Omosh Fire.
Ali, interesting question, and I don't even know why you asked me. Why didn't you ask Anna? She's the one who's, I don't know, anakaa kama historian, professor, na kadhalika. But
no, I want to get the Luo Nation perspective, especially.
Yani, mushaanza ukabila ni sawa. Anyway, so that time in 1982, around the time of the coup, the people who had dissent with the sitting government at that point, because remember, we were only 4 years removed from Kenyatta passing away and Moi starting. And there were folks who basically were saying, hey, this guy is he's only holding this presidency temporarily because the constitution is shaped such that he would get it since he was VP, and he would automatically get to run the country. And then we, the folks who decide, are gonna kick him out and bring our own people. And so come 1982, when there's dissent, and the coup comes in, and the military have a brief takeover, then they round up folks, the ringleaders. It's young guys, young bucks in the Air Force. Most of them are Luos, who are like captains and so on and so forth. Anyone can go back and read the history of that, how that coup happened. But then they were now trying to go back and say, okay, well, these guys in the military, they didn't plan this on their own. They had to be ringleaders, or they had to be other people. And at that time, the folks who were the dissenters, or people who were known to be I guess I'd say, Moi sycophants or non-Moi people, were lecturers. A lot of them were lecturers or academicians who a lot of them happened to be either Luos, or you'd find Kisis in there, like guys like Kina Nyona, and they all had a standard, walikuwa watu wa masharubu. They, if you go back and look at all those,
the bearded sisters.
Yes, they were bearded.
Yeah.
They were all professors, or they were lecturers, or some way tied to a university, which at 9 times out of 10 was University of Nairobi, because at that point of time it was pretty much
the only university.
It was that
Yeah.
one, and then Egerton, KU. But at that time, those chaps were coming from there. So, ndio maana unaona, he was collected, he was picked up, he was wekad. And remember, there's also the dissension from his dad.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Which basically was a trickle-down effect from Kenyatta time, then rolled down into Moi time, and then, they're still, side-eyeing the guy. And then now his son is coming in over here on the other side of the fence. So it's like, okay, we'll teach you how these things are done.
But then,
Go
Omosh,
ahead, yes.
the thing is, that what most people don't realize is that when he came back from Germany, he came back as a lecturer and as a teacher, and he was teaching.
Yes.
And what they actually arrested him in conjunction with the coup is because he had gone out of Kenya. He had gone to Germany and seen a different kind of politics, and ventured into Russia and understood a different kind of politics apart from the democracy the British had brought in. And that is what the Kenyans were practicing. And most of their teaching was going to also university students. So they held him for radicalization of the students. And during the 82 coup, there were a lot of students who were arrested, including the current senator. Is he for Nyamiro Kisi? What's his name?
Onyonka.
Onyonka,
Onyonka,
Yeah.
Kisii senator.
Yeah, Onyonka, yeah. Then we remember guys like Kina Mushira. There were a bunch of student leaders who actually died at that particular time, during that time. And it became a continuation of when you see, that's what I say, when we saw the Gen Z uprising happening in Kenya recently, this comes back from when these guys came back as lecturers and as teachers, when they started teaching these university students. And we saw that a lot of Kenya revolutionism has actually started from universities,
yes.
spreading down to younger people and going on. So it's a thing that has been there for years. And if we go back to when most of us started, now we're old enough to understand politics, and we go to things like Saba Saba, which were a majority young people, university students, talking to other people, other young youths in the estate with them, how operation is, how they don't see a future for their country, and it spread like wildfire. So he was, a lot of people, when they hear about Raila being arrested during the coup, they usually think like he was a coup organizer, or he was one of the people who were like, we are going to we are planning with this military guy. No, the coup came from the military itself. The guy was just a dreamer who was teaching a different kind of politics to people, and he was caught up in that melee. And as Omosh insinuated, ikiendelea pamoja na the sins of his father. And we all know the sins of his father were actually not sins, but actually were more of a corruption of the British intelligence guys who decided that if we put tribal drift between the two main tribes in Kenya who are leading together, there will always be conflict for us to manipulate whoever is leading the country at that particular time. Back to you in the studio.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mika, for all those details. And these are the small details that are very important because there's a lot of misinformation and propaganda out there, especially about his involvement in the coup. And I think with death comes a soberness, and I can already see some of it. I have Kenyan Jui here. First, Doreen Florence asked us to remind people about his career at the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Thank you so much for that reminder, Dorian Florence. And then Kenyan Jui says,
Not Kenya Bus Services?
yeah, I know it's considered an African to speak critically of the dead, and I do feel for his family. He was human and a fellow Kenyan, but I have mixed feelings about his passing. He was an important political figure, much needed opposition voice, and the longest serving political detainee under Moi. Still, we can't ignore that he led a failed coup and played a central role in the 2007 violence. That's a fact. Let's see how history chooses to judge him. Kenyan Jui, this is where we are gonna correct you, unfortunately. And you know, the good thing about death equalizes humans because there's soberness. So remember, you know, like we're gonna be talking about some of the narratives that had been created around him. Remember this issue about coup, it never used to pop up until when he started running for president, until when he started becoming a threat to power. That's when this narrative started popping up. Like Mika said, this coup came from the military. There was a lot of lecturers in universities who were teaching different ideas. He had gone to university in East Germany, which was communist at the time, had socialist systems. So they were teaching such things. So when the coup came in, Moi's government went into panic and they arrested anybody and everybody who seemed to be...
And actually, senior Luos.
Yeah.
If you're a senior Luo in government and you had not pledged allegiance, you're arrested.
Yes, you know,
Almost,
so...
actually, it was not just senior leaders. Let's correct something about the coup. Most people say that, most people actually don't understand that the leading generals who actually wanted to dethrone Moi were not Luos.
Yeah.
They were Kikuyu.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But the guy who was executed, the famous guy who was executed
Ochuka,
for the
yeah.
coup was Ochuka. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of what people know. And I think that's why it's important to, you know, now like in soberness, study this history. This history is now available online. So people should just take their time. You know, like we've been given a God-given gap. You know, like we had the Gen Z revolt last year. And now with the death of Raila, as sad as it is, I think it's also a moment for introspection. Let us forget about these narratives that people keep throwing out. We have all kinds of tools available to us, even to those who do not want to read a full book. You have ChatGPT, you have Perplexity, you have different kinds of tools that will allow you to soberly analyze these things, you know, and it's very simple queries you can ask if you really want to know what the truth is. But of course, there are people who will stick to the narrative they've been given, regardless of where the truth stands. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. I have Hosilando who's tuned in on YouTube. Watu wa YouTube, karibuni sana. Feel free to type in your comments, and then the number to call 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Hosilando says, sad day for Kenya. The last time I felt the sting of a politician dying is when Kenneth Matiba died. You always wonder what if. I am forever grateful for Raila fighting for devolution. That was timely. May Baba rest in power. his legacy will never die. Thank you so much, Osilando, for that comment. And then, Kenyanjuya is saying, even he never denied that. Let's allow history to judge him fully for the good and the bad. Let us stick to the facts and not inject sentimental views in his
But then-
autobiography. The Flame of Freedom, he states that he played only a peripheral role in the attempted coup and stresses that his efforts about educating and mobilizing people rather than using violence. Kanyanju, I'm going to tell you something, because clearly you're among the people who, will stick to, the narrative that has been given. I will tell you something. Tonight, we are not, this is not a night where we're looking to debate or we're looking to say who was right or who was wrong. This information is readily out there. So it's okay. You can believe, what you want to believe, but tonight is a tribute to the late Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. And Masheke
Ali,
says,
I was
go
gonna
ahead,
say-
Mika.
I was gonna say that tonight we're giving somebody his tribute. We are not trying to argue. We're not trying to debate with people. And I'm saying this in the kindest manner, you can never change somebody who's been taught to hate. Hating is easier than loving somebody or understanding somebody. So we are not going to do that tonight.
Okay,
Your feelings and your sentiments are yours. If you feel like you hold a certain feelings towards the tribute, what you're doing tonight, we can kindly ask you to stay out. If you can't post a tribute, we are not doing that discussion today. We'll have that show later on if we want to have that show. But what you're not doing today, we're not going to have a back and forth and argue with people. It's your belief. It's how it's what you believe in, what you know, what you've grown to know. If you believe baba ni mchawi mgoroki angefanya utoe longi uvae suruali, hiyo ni yako. We are not handling that today.
So thank you so much, Mika, for making it easier for me. Again,
Yani Ali, you didn't know how to say that in English.
no, I did not say. English is like my third language, and the number to call is 202.
So ungesema na Kiswahili ama you want Anna to
683.
translate for you in a Anna kwenye ni wapi huko?
Davida. But one thing I wanted to say even about the situation and why he is speaking, maybe he's passionate about what he's saying, is because no human being is perfect.
Correct.
And we definitely know that Raila was not perfect.
Correct.
And he did have his, faults.
Yes.
So I think he's coming through his own form of understanding and knowledge of what he knows, okay? So the best thing is, yes, not say, okay, we're not going to have that kind of a show tonight, but, to be open to say that I hear you and those are your sentiments and, we can move on, because I think that's the most important thing. But to come to also talk about Baba, as I was listening to, as an artist, I think about how Baba loved art.
Yes.
And, and how he actually changed the course of our musical, creativity, especially the people in Kenya, and they were talking about this in another show, and you think about the songs that, he revived just by him being Baba, you understand? And so when I think about his impact, it goes further than politics. I think his impact is also in the cultural aspect of us as Kenyans, celebrating who we are, celebrating our culture, celebrating our ethnicities, because, today he would love Nobody Can Stop Reggae. Tomorrow he would love, I Am Unbogable. The next day he would love, I don't know. So that unification, he brought us together. Yes, for many, maybe through politics, but I think it was the culture, it was the charisma, it was the humor, it was the fact that, he was so resilient, because everybody talks about mtu akiibiwa enenio, umeibiwa kura kama mara ine, and you still come back. I mean, there's something to say about a person like that. I mean, for me, umeniibia mara mbili, forget it. But ameibiwa mara ine, na bado amekuja akashake hand, not only with Ruto but also with Uhuru. You understand? So I think Baba, that's what I'm saying. I wish there was another book that explained the reason he
that his reasons behind what he did.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, because seriously, that need to be analyzed, and perhaps people will be interviewed, those who are close to him, to give us the reason of why he did that. Because I'm telling you, when during the campaigns those days when I was Baba Dam, at some point my Baba Dam will fifia. But you hear all kind of stories, you hear
Correct.
the negatives, you hear, oh, Baba, you did not use, he didn't invest in his campaigns, and if he had invested in his campaign as much as the other people, then he definitely, Baba will be there. Then you hear the story that, oh, these elections are always decided in the UK. So even by the time ata Baba najua tiyo kitu atakosa. Yani, oh, mara you hear, oh, other thing, Baba was cast by his father. He will never be the president. Yani, there are stories and stories and stories to tell. But at the same time, don't look more on the stories, look at the man and the legacy. You understand? Look at the things that he has done to save Kenya from going into deeper violence. You understand? And yet people can say yeye ndo alileta hizi vita, but yeye pia ndo alistopisha hizi vita. So at the same time, it's and I mean, I remember even Kivuitu. Do you remember Kivuitu?
Yes.
When he was being asked who won the election,
He didn't know. Yeah, he said he didn't know. Yeah.
And then that's what I remember. Even though I'm not a guru in politics. I remember wakiapisha nani Kibaki usiku. Hata my grandmother was alive, akakuja akasema, niliona mzee rais akiapishwa usiku. What kind of nonsense is that? If you want fair and square, let us go to the stadium daylight. So you can say all these things negative about Baba without looking at the other side. That's what I'm saying. So we have to really be open.
Anna, the interesting thing is that the judgments that people used to make on Baba, like for example, like 2007 violence. Yeah. That's one of the narratives that he's the sole reason why there was violence in 2007. Yet you had the theater of violence one was in Rift Valley, and you had another one coming from also from Mungiki, also within Rift Valley. However, you never see these same people who like labeling this on Baba, talk about their leaders who also had gangs, who were paying gangs and doing this. They will not say the same thing. Another thing that also was also a narrative was that one for Kibra. This guy has been MP for this area for so long, but these guys are still poor. But these same people will never say the same thing about Othaya. When Othaya also had a lot of poverty, despite Kibaki being a member of parliament even way, way longer than Baba was. So there was a very unfair way of, or even Gatundu, there was a very unfair way of a pedestal of judging him, which you would not use that same standard to judge your heroes. So, and that's why death is an equalizer in the fact that people are able to see things soberly, in proper perspective, beyond a lot of those narratives that were being spread.